lot of content, guys. I was going through and I'm like, oops. Last month was not as much, but this month we have a lot to go. So I'm going to try to get through as much of this as possible. So let's kind of get started. So let's get on the SharePoint side of things. SharePoint Online theme updates happening late February here to mid-March. And really it's for those SharePoint sites that are in classic mode. And you're going to see things are going to change. So it's really the owners of these sites, again, in classic mode, that they're going to see some of these little, like changing it, change the look. It's just going to be a little different feel. Not a major thing, but you know how sometimes people are when they see something different. Did I do something wrong? Just let them know that, hey, don't worry about it. There's going to be a little bit of a change in this particular area. OneDrive for Business is going to get a revamp, especially the home area. And if you haven't started seeing this, it's going to happen here soon. Started already here in early February and it's going to go to late February. It's just going to be able to get a different look and feel, right? It's going to show you all of your content that you have been working on, specifically documents, PDFs, those types of things. It's going to show it in a what you guys used, what order they were last opened. You can do some filtering. Always know that you can go to My Files to be able to actually see your folders, right? So that's for your end users, that could be a big change because they're used to seeing that immediately when they go into the OneDrive, they see My Files. Well, that's not the case anymore. It's really the stuff they're working on. Similar to what you would see in the Office 365 homepage, right? Same scenario. But you can still access that. So make sure you let them know about this change because it's going to be a big one for them. And I know we're going to be talking about Stream next month, but guess what? There is innovations happening around Stream. And one of the things I'm pretty sure he's going to be talking about is this one. It's being able to create, view, and share playlists within Stream. So if you have a certain amount of content that you need to bring together in a playlist for your team, that's really what this is going to be about. It's already starting to roll out now. It's going to go through here until February, late February. And it's any video that's in the Stream SharePoint version of Stream, not the classic one, but the new one. And that's SharePoint or OneDrive. And you can create your playlists. And by the way, it's actually using Microsoft lists in the back end to be able to create this playlist for you. And then you can display that on your site. All right, that playlist isn't available then. Make sure you notify your end users of this change. I'm looking forward to this feature for a little while. So, all right. Speaking of lists, the ability to be able to allow an end user to upgrade, I should say, not Microsoft lists, got that heading wrong, but distribution lists to Microsoft 365 groups. This is a big change from an Office 365 perspective. So starting here in mid-February, going to mid-March, if you are the owner of a distribution list, right? So this is a group that's only meant for email distribution. Right. If you are that owner, the administrators, IT administrators are able to set up and say, hey, you as an owner can upgrade this to a Microsoft 365 group. Right. So that allows you then to be able to say, yeah, I want to get more to it than that. I want to be able to have a team associated to this particular distribution list. I want to be able to have a security group so I can use it in multiple different areas, right? So once that email goes out to that distribution list owner, they can upgrade it. They get a button that literally allows them to do that, and it takes about 5-10 minutes, and then they're ready to go. The email address doesn't change. The members of the group don't change. Just the ability of what it can do changes behind the scenes. So it's a huge, huge benefit. But again, it's all started for the administrator being able to push that out first. So again, Andrea, on this one, is it on by default or off by default? Again, it's the administrator can push it out, right? The administrator has to start the process first. And then once that's the case, then that owner can do it. So it's really not on off per se. It's, hey, does the administrator want to do it or not? If you want to think of it that way. If you're planning on doing it, make sure you document how it works and then notify your users as far as what's going on with this particular change. All right, Yammer, and especially around Microsoft Teams to produce Yammer live events. So if you're familiar with live events, there's a couple different ways to be able to produce a live event. One of those ways, yes, we can do it through Teams, but we could also have this and pushed out through Yammer. And so behind the scenes, what Yammer was doing is being actually use Stream to be able to produce that out. That's all changing because of the classic Stream to now more modern Stream technology that's happening. And so basically, there's some back-end pieces that is going to get changed. And I want you to notice that when you're setting up a Yammer live event, and you're going in there and setting the configuration for it, you're going to have two options. One's going to be a quick Teams quick start, or you can use Microsoft Teams external app or device. So Microsoft Teams quick start is just basically utilizing a Teams meeting to be able to produce that content and then literally then produce it out into Yammer, right? But it's, again, back end, it's all going to be Teams. Microsoft Teams with an external app or device, you could use an external encoder to be able to do that, pipe it into a Microsoft Teams, and then push it out to Yammer. Those are the options that you would have. Again, starting here late February, going to mid-March, this is starting to go over. So if you're doing anything with Yammer live events, please take note of this. Let that team know that some changes are happening, and then make sure that they have time to be able to go through that and figure out what's going on. All right, this one, I know there's not much to it, but Yahoo, finally. I don't know, and I posted this and I said, for those who are OCD, this is a great little tool, and that would be me. Automatic lowering of users' raised hands after speaking, and it's literally going to go and say, hey, you raised your hand, by the way, and you spoke. Do you want to lower it or do you want to keep it raised? It's literally it's going to do it automatically. And if you want to keep it raised, you have that option, right? It's only the person who, the attendee that raised their hand and then spoke, that's going to see that. The presenters, all those, they're not going to see. It's going to be behind the scenes, right? So notice right here, mid-February for public preview, production mid-March, late March, GCC, GCCH, and DoD coming in April and May. Agreed, Liz. It's great. It's going to be a much better scenario for our meetings. Make sure you let your users notify what's going on, and after they're done clapping, then move on your way. Okay, another thing in Microsoft Teams meetings is specifically when you are in an in-person scenario. In this particular one, it's going to detect if there's multiple people in that room. And it's going to give that first person who joins that meeting the ability to be able to, yeah, I want to use my laptop or I want to use the Teams room, whatever you want to do. But it's going to automatically then turn off mic and speakers and let that person know of everybody else that's coming into that room. All right. So it's saying, hey, you guys don't need to have it. So you're not going to get that howl, right? That screech that happens when multiple people are in there and then they have that echo happening. All right. Make sure you let people know it's already in preview, actually preview here late February, but coming out in early March and to late March. GCCH and DoD are going to follow later. Again, let people know about that. Yeah, Chris, it's not about dogs. Sorry. Video closed captioning for PowerPoint Live. Again, it's just another inclusive capability happening within the tools that we're using. So in this case, I'm using PowerPoint Live. And what this is going to be able to give me is the ability, when I set this up and say, hey, I want to enclose, or I want to embed a video. Well, with that, I also want to include a closed captioning file that has that content from that video. So when it plays, then the content is actually displayed, if you can kind of see down here, down underneath in the slide itself. Right, so you're going to actually be able to see that closed captioning from that file, and it's going to play as the video is playing. So, but the thing is, it has to be a separate file, that closed captioning file that you can then upload into PowerPoint to be able to have that connection. All right. All right. Make sure you let people know, train them how to be able to use this. All right. Get back to my other one. Walkie-talkie transmission usage report. So not everybody really utilizing walkie-talkie. You may have some scenarios within your organization that is more frontline worker type that might be utilized in the walkie-talkie transmission, or maybe you don't even know about it and it's something you should look at it. One of the things that we get from administrators is, I want to know how much it's being used, right? Well, up until now, we really didn't have many insights into what was going on. But now, starting here and already started rolling out and going here mid-February, so probably next week-ish so, we're going to actually be able to do in the usage report in Teams admin, be able to say, I want to see what's going on from a walkie-talkie usage perspective, right? Now, there is a known issue, and that is that literally they're building out the back end on this as we're speaking. So there is not going to be a last 30-day report, and you're not going to see much of that 30 days. You may see a condensed set of data, maybe it's the last 15 days, but literally you'd have to go through that second set of 30 days to be able to really see what happened. Right, so literally they're building the back end as we speak, and then once it's available, then you'll actually be able to see those report that information. So give it some time as we move forward with that. Jason Hughes, do you know if PowerPoint Live is using PowerPoint for web service and back end? We had some users complain. That's a great question. I am not 100% positive what they're doing with that. But that's a good thing for, let me see if I can find out more information and we can get back to you. All right. Send suggestions available Teams chat is an option that's coming up here in late February to late March. I didn't finish, is this the right one? Hang on, guys, I apologize. I think I didn't finish out what I was thinking. So ultimately with this one, and I'll share this slide later on, is you're going to be able to get some options where if you have a chat happening, a channel or a chat happening, and you say something about, hey, we need to be able to do X, Y, and Z before a certain date, it will actually say, do you want to, and somebody happens to be out, right? So it's that delayed scheduling a message going out, right? So that's coming. And let me get that updated. I'll get to you guys. I apologize. I missed that on my slide. Wrong data. All right. Next one, Teams and Office for Web, Visio personal app in Teams. And I know this one is going to come with, well, do you have to have Visio licenses? I don't know all the specifics on this one, but if you do have some licenses and you have access to the Visio personal app in general, the web app, now it's available in Teams as a separate app that you can pin to the bar, and you're able to then create new Visio documents straight there without having to go out to the web version to be able to actually view or even create or edit Visios that you have through that service. Coming out here mid-April, it's going to be available for everybody. A lot of quick mentions, again, things that are happening. A couple of them that I want to call out. Improvements to the SharePoint page authoring is happening here mid-February to late February. Things like editor spell check is going to be able to work in multiple languages. Pressing enter will give you a new line, which is a change in what's happened in the past. And then the image, the hero web part, specifically images within that. What they're removing the ability to be able to have external images in that. What they highly suggest is that you're going to need to download those images, bring them into the stock images area within your SharePoint site, and then use it that way. However, if you already have a hero web part with those external, they're going to honor that for a while. They didn't say when, but then eventually you're going to have to make those updates. Also notice suggested files in one-on-one chats. If you say something about, hey, take a look at this, and you don't accidentally put it in there, it's actually going to display a share file in the chat for you as a suggestion. Great little thing. Export list as a data set in Power BI. So if I have a SharePoint Microsoft list or a SharePoint list, and I want to be able to do some data visualization or reporting, that's a great way to do it, and you'll see it in the export area. This is another big one I think you should look at from an IT admin perspective. We are changing the built-in PDF engine to Adobe Acrobat. And it doesn't mean you have to go out and buy subscriptions to Adobe Acrobat. It just means behind the scenes, we're doing the work for you. Now, if you do have it, great. You'll have more capabilities than what you had before, but you don't have to purchase any of the Adobe Acrobat products to be able to do this. All right. Updated messages. A lot of things have slipped. A couple of the ones that I wanted to mention, things like expanded reaction in team has slipped. The meeting prep inline suggestions, which we talked about last month, has also slipped from late January into mid-February here. Customization, message expiration also slipped. Room remote for desktop, which was something that came out in mobile app not long ago, but it would be available for desktop. So if you're in a Teams room and you don't want to touch the panel, you would be able to use your computer to be able to remote control camera in, volume up and down, things like that. Brian, I'm not sure about the subscription for the Acrobat subscription piece. I guess I don't think it really matters as long as you already have that installed on that computer and would have access to it. But read the Message Center post and see if it gives a little bit more detail on that. Busy is another big one that I think people are looking forward to. What happens when you're in a meeting and something comes up or another call comes in? How does that react? And you're getting some updates on that. And then some admin action required. I updated the list recently. The Stream Live Events Replacement Service, September 15th, is the newest one out of all of these. I want to make sure I call that out. I think with that, back to you.
All right, sounds great. Yeah, I was just in the message center.